Well, we all need a reason to wake up. When I was 24 years old, I was married because that was the right thing to do. In my culture, I was getting up in age, so that meant that if I didn't get married, I would be unmarriable. I'm not sure if that's a word, but we would be unmarriable at, when you passed a certain age. On our wedding night, we had an argument. We fought like no one's business, and that essentially set the stage for the next 11 and a half years. Robin Williams infamously stated, "I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up alone. It is not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people that make you feel alone." That was essentially me in a nutshell. In my culture, in my family, I always felt I did not belong. I was not worth loving, and what I said didn't matter. I now joke with my family and friends that perhaps God might have gotten it wrong by making me Indian. I don't even like spicy foods. That doesn't even work. Throughout my earlier years, when I was, and as well as when I was married, I met many women in my culture who were simply beside themselves because of what their lives had actually become. They were lost, unloved, and that was me. I had so much anger in me, and that any little thing would trigger me. You could maybe left a dish on the sink and that was it. I was going to blow up at somebody. And I was consistently being told that you are not worth loving, that you are essentially not going to amount to anything, and that was just a normal thing. And it wasn't like somebody else's wife or someone else's sister, so that comparison was a regular part of my life. And so I believed it all, and I carried on. And my misery and my anger just became that much more, that anything would set me off. Within the first few years of my marriage, I had a son. I have a son still. I was in medical school at the time, and I remember when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, what the heck am I going to do? I was going only into second year, so I still had a few more years to go there for medical school. And I was told by a lot of people that I should just stop now, and I need to just be at home now with my son, and that I should not continue my studies. But I knew if I had stopped, I would be not able to go back, and I'd continue this misery track. And so I continued. I would take him to school with me. I nursed him in the back of the class while I was trying to write notes. And I would go home trying to study, and I had very, very dark days at that time because I was trying to study, but at the same time I had this baby that needed me. And so my bitterness and my hatred and my anger just continued towards him, towards everybody. But it was actually because of my son that I was able to get through those really dark days when he would just come running to you and put his little arms around you. It actually was able to get through that. Throughout my health challenges, naturopathic medicine is what guided me through. So I can now say that I do wake up every day knowing that I'm doing my life's work. Fast forward to about 2011, I had to deal with a business that went bankrupt. I was dealing with court. So there's one particular day I had left court that day, and I was listening to a podcast in my car driving home. And one of the things I heard on it was, there are two most important days in your life. One is when you're born, and the second when you know why. And that moment, I just knew I was exhausted. I had to do something. Something had to shift for me. So that night, to my husband's dismay at the time, I booked a flight to Switzerland to visit my sister. And because it was such a last-minute trip, she was busy with work and stuff, so I decided to go to the most romantic city on earth by myself, to Paris, France. It was Halloween, October 31st, 2011. I was standing under the Eiffel Tower. It had started to just pour rain. And still tons of people there, it didn't even matter. I was surrounded by couples that were hugging and kissing and all that stuff that I started to cry. And that uncontrollable cry that you have no control over? We all know that cry. That was me. And I knew right there and then my decision was made. I had to change the life that I currently had and that I was leaving to shift this. I was tired of being tired. I was tired of feeling like I didn't matter. And I was tired of fighting for myself and tired of being told that I wasn't worth anything. I had absolutely no clue how I was going to manage anything because I did not know how to pay bills online. I had no clue how to do that, not know how to organize finances, how to deposit a check. who the hell doesn't know how to deposit a check? That was me. My kids, I had a second child too, so at that time my daughter was only 3 and my son was 8, so I wasn't even sure how I was going to manage the single parenthood thing. But after that pivotal moment, what I actually wasn't prepared for was the backlash that I got from family and friends. It wasn't, and it is very true when they say to you, through adversity, you find your true family and friends. I was amazed to see the people that I thought were going to be there for me completely left me. And the people that I didn't even consider a friend actually came to my rescue. And my probably favorite line I was told back that time was, well, he doesn't beat you, so why are you wrecking your family? Why are you ruining your family life that you have? But in my heart, I knew that I didn't want my son growing up thinking it's okay to treat a woman this way, or for my daughter to think it's acceptable to be treated that way. And my work for me was my solace. It was my happy place. My goal was and still is that every single person that walks through my doors, I want them to leave with some type of hope. And all of my feelings of despair, hopelessness, all that would leave every day when I walked into my office. I've been a physician now for 10 years, and I've learned that medicine is designed with disease in mind and not necessarily with people. We're taught to treat patients, and that actually is defined by one who suffers. So I think we're all patients in that regard, right? And suffering can be great, as it will unite us. We can learn compassion. And as women, I know there's some men here too, but as women, we are all caregivers. So someone who cares, someone who relieves suffering. And I've seen and heard too many people come into my office where they're just done. They want to die, they throw in the towel, and not because they've found peace, because they have now become repulsed at what their lives have actually become, the ugliness of it all. So my purpose is to bring intention and a better design to medicine. I want you to know that life can be wonderful and not less horrible. You get what you tolerate, and that goes in everything. So your relationships, your work, your family, friends, everything. So stop tolerating and realize your own value, your own worth, and know that you actually matter. Stop living other people's expectations of you and ask yourself, what do you want? Not what your family wants, your friends want, your spouse, nothing. You do not owe anyone any explanation but yourself. Make space for you instead of just getting out of your own way. A part of me died in that divorce, but then I was reborn. And I've had the opportunity to redesign my life, and I can now say that's been an incredibly liberating experience. I can pay bills online now, so this is really good. You can find beauty in life. My grandma actually used to say that a lotus grows in mud, not in the marble. So if we can love our muddy moments, then we can acknowledge and recognize ourselves that we do matter. And one day we will wake up, and there won't be any more time left to do what we actually have always wanted to do. So do it now. That's it.